Good evening. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. His Majesty the King visited US Naval Support Facility and affirmed solid bilateral strategic relations. Shura Council rejected a lifetime pension benefits plan. Investigation urged on illegal leasing of government homes. Derasat launched opinion poll on food product ingredients awareness. Kuwait to fire 1,000 expatriate teachers next year, according to reports. G7 vowed to step up moves to renewable energy and zero carbon. News in detail. His Majesty the King visited a US Naval Support Facility and affirmed solid bilateral strategic relations. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, visited the US Naval Support Facility in the Kingdom of Bahrain. His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, delivered a statement in which he lauded the strategic friendship relations between the two countries and the ongoing coordination between them to safeguard security and peace across the region. His Majesty the King affirmed the keenness of the Kingdom of Bahrain to strengthen its relations with the United States in a way that would achieve global security and peace. His Majesty the King was accompanied by the Bahrain Defense Force, Commander-in-Chief Field Marshal Sheikh Khalifa bin Hamad Al Khalifa, National Security Advisor, Royal Guard Commander Major General His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and Royal Guard Special Force Commander Colonel His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa. Upon arrival, His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, was welcomed by the Commander of the U.S. Naval Forces Central Command and 5th Fleet Commander Vice Admiral Charles Bradford Cooper, U.S. Ambassador to the Kingdom of Bahrain Stephen Bondi, and Commander of the Royal Bahrain Naval Force. His Majesty the King, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, was briefed about military cooperation between the two countries, as well as their humanitarian operations along with other countries to secure the freedom of navigation and smooth maritime trade flow in the region and the world. Shura Council rejected a lifetime pension benefits plan. A move to reinstate lifetime pension benefits for elected and appointed public representatives has been rejected by the Shura Council during the upper chamber's weekly session yesterday. The members unanimously rejected a bid to reinstate the 2009 MP's municipal councillors, Shura Council and Capital Trustees Board members' pay and pension law presented by former MPs. Investigation urged on illegal leasing of government homes. Tough action has been urged against individuals who illegally lease out their government homes for profit. 5 MPs led by Mohammad Janahi proposed the constitution of a special monitoring committee under the Housing and Urban Planning Ministry to ensure houses across the country are being only occupied by families that have benefited from the government scheme. Derasat launched an opinion poll on food product ingredients awareness. The Bahrain Center for Strategic International and Energy Studies launched an opinion poll to measure consumers' awareness of the ingredients in their food products, their label reading habits, ingredients that are concerned about, and patterns that follow to organize food consumption priorities. Ahmed Abdul Hamid Al Amadi, Head of Statistical Analysis at the Opinion Polls and Surveys Directorate in Derasat, said that the quality and safety of healthy foods depend on knowing what natural and artificial ingredients they contain. This poll aims to identify the levels of awareness consumers in Bahrain have on food quality and safety from reading labels on the packaging. Al-Amadi stressed the importance of the results expected from the e-questionnaire currently distributed by Derasat surveyors among a random sample of citizens and residents of Bahrain. Derasat Center aims to collect feedback from a specimen of 700 individuals that comprise a cross-section of the Bahraini society, determined to learn what drives local consumers' food choices, their knowledge of foodstuff ingredients, health value, nutrient quantities, and their suitability for their health requirements. The questionnaire is now available on Derasat's official platforms and can be accessed and completed by scanning the QR code displayed. Housing Minister inspected ongoing Salman City projects. Minister of Housing and Urban Planning Amina bint Ahmed Al Ramaihi inspected Salman City within the follow-up program for implementing projects on city's housing. The minister affirmed that the projects in Salman City are accelerating to their completion phase with the aim of speeding up the delivery of units and apartments to the citizens benefiting from the project. The minister highlighted that the most prominent characteristic of the projects is the use of modern building models, whether in houses or apartments, according to the sixth generation of residential buildings, and the interior model of the apartments were designed based on studies. She reviewed the service projects that will be implemented in the city, which include 9 mosques, 4 kindergartens, 3 schools, Central Park, Civil Defense, Police Station, Health Center, Communication Towers, Coast Guard points in towers. Eid prayer open air area inaugurated in Budaya. Sunni Endowments Council Chairman Dr. Sheikh Rashid Al Hajiri inaugurated an Eid open air prayer area in Budaya, covering 2,000 square meters to accommodate 2,300 worshippers. Dr. Al Hajiri praised the care of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa for places of worship, hailing the support of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. He said that the prayer site will serve people living in Budaya and other neighboring areas which are witnessing urban expansion. Foreign Minister and Indian Ambassador held discussions. Foreign Minister Dr. Abdul Latif bin Rashid Al Zayani received Indian Ambassador to Bahrain, Piyush Srivastava. The meeting discussed strong historical ties binding the two friendly countries, which are based on mutual respect. They reviewed ways of bolstering bilateral relations and cooperation and discussed topics of common interest. Now we will be back after a very short break. The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahala. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination. Welcome back. UAE Golden Visa to be granted to mosque imams, preachers and muftis. The UAE Golden Visa will be granted to mosque imams, preachers, muezzins, muftis and religious leaders. The announcement was made by Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Crown Prince of Dubai and Chairman of the Executive Council of Dubai on Saturday. The 10-year residency will be given to those listed if they have completed 20 years of work. The announcement follows the directives of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai. The UAE Golden Visa is granted to several categories of people, including talents such as scientists, and specialists, investors in public investments, real estate investors, entrepreneurs, top high school achievers, graduates of accredited universities in the UAE, graduates of accredited universities outside the country, and workers in the first line of defense. Kuwait to fire 1,000 expatriate teachers next year, according to reports. Kuwait's Education Ministry will review its policy aiming at replacing expatriate staff. According to a report, the sources said that the next layoffs would only be done after ensuring the availability of qualified national elements and determining the extent of their ability to perform at the same level. They also added that the ministry will slow down termination decisions unless qualified Kuwaiti GCC nationals or children of Kuwaiti mothers are available, and through hiring highly qualified expatriates that the ministry needs. This year's termination of 1,800 teachers will not happen again next year, as no more than 1,000 teachers will be laid off, the sources added. Earlier in March, it was reported that Kuwait fired over 1,500 teachers regardless of gender amid expatriate worker rule changes. The Education Ministry of Kuwait announced that they will be laying off more teachers and assessing the actual need of teachers in each education zone. The decision on which teachers to let go will be announced before the end of May, after the second school term at Kuwait University and Public Authority for Applied Education and Training. G7 vote to step up moves to renewable energy and zero carbon. Energy and Environment Ministers of the Group of 7 wealthy nations vowed Sunday to work to hasten the shift towards cleaner renewable energy, but set no timetable for phasing out coal-fired power plants as they wrapped up 2 days of talks in the northern Japanese city of Sapporo. The officials issued a 36-page communique laying out their commitments ahead of a G7 summit in Hiroshima in May. The Associated Press reported. Japan won endorsements from fellow G7 countries for its own national strategy emphasizing so-called clean coal, hydrogen and nuclear energy to help ensure its energy security. The leaders reiterated the need to urgently reduce carbon emissions and achieve a predominantly decarbonized power sector by 2035. They also stressed the importance of ensuring supplies of critical minerals used in many high-tech products are stable and conform to high social and environmental standards. SpaceX set for debut flight of Starship rocket system to space. Elon Musk's SpaceX made final preparations early on Monday to launch its powerful new Starship rocket system to space for the first time on a brief but highly anticipated uncrewed test flight from Gulf Coast of Texas. The two-stage rocket ship, standing taller than the Statue of Liberty at 394 feet high, was due for blast-off from the SpaceX facility at Boca Chica, Texas, during a 2-hour launch window that opens at 8 a.m. The test mission, whether or not its objectives are entirely met, represents a key milestone in SpaceX's ambition of sending humans back to the moon and ultimately to Mars, also the central goal of a renewed NASA spaceflight program intended to integrate the Starship, Reuters reported. But SpaceX faces enormous changes in merely launching a spacecraft that would instantly become, if it successfully gets off the ground, the most powerful rocket on Earth. UAE is India's second biggest export destination and third biggest source of imports. UAE continues to be the second most important export destination for India, according to annual trade figures released by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The US and the UAE retained the first and second places respectively in this category during the financial year 2022-2023. The ministry's figures showed, according to Emirates News Agency. The figures for the year were released a fortnight after a new year began. They showed that India's overall exports of merchandise and service rose by 6% during the financial year that got over at the end of last month. The Netherlands rose to the third place in this category during the same period, replacing China. The importance of the Netherlands was out to a high level of refined petroleum products through the maritime nation last year. The ministry simultaneously released India's trade figures for March 2023. Soon after the month ended, it showed the UAE in second place after the US among the India's export destinations. Among the GCC states, only Saudi Arabia figured among India's top export destinations and sources of imports. Saudi Arabia was the 8th place for Indian exports and in the 5th place as an import source. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.